saying to Liberty, pick the Varus or Camille. Camille is better. You know why? Because RY tends to form a composition that has Luna as a single threat. The biggest answer to that, Hextech Ultimatum, easy single target.
Hextech Ultimatum doesn't only lock a target down, set them up for damage, it also reduces the amount of damage output.
Yes.
So if you land Hextech Ultimatum onto something like a Draven, that Draven is useless in the fight. Now, one thing that's far enough away, it can't be Hextech Ultimatum, that would be the Varus, and we did expect that to be drafted by Rolster, but they're taking a while here, which makes me wonder.
And it was after they insta-locked Wukong, so they knew Wukong was going to be part of it. Time's up, they go with the Senna first here.
Not going to be the Varus this time around, but this is a dead giveaway because when you think of Luna, you think of carry. When you think of Senna, you don't think carry. This is scaling very slow, very calm and stable lane. So where's RY going to pivot this time? Are they going towards Rattel?
And you do remember, of course, Ezek now 0 from the Horizon Cup. An incredible mid laner. We have seen some very quiet games from our WCK mid laners so far. If Zero gets a carry here, it's a chance for Rolster to step up through other lanes.
There we go.
There's the Varus.
There's the Varus
There's
finally
the Varus.
unleashed. And paired with Manufreed says, best pick, the Thresh.
And paired with a Camille, which is so good as well. This draft from Liberty could not have gone better so far.
I feel like RY is saying that, okay, they're prepared for the Luna single damage comp, so that means it's both Zero and Rattel can play both damage.
But that is Rattel's pocket pick right there. That is Rattel's Fiora, one of the terrors of the Korean server, going to be so deadly into Camille on the top side there. This is Rattel with an ego pick saying, I don't care if you've got the Camille, I'm going to beat you in lane, I'm going to neutralize the Camille before it becomes a threat in team fights.
Remember back at Horizon Cup, right?
I do.
Yeah, the way Rattel uses the Fiora, always finding flanks, always finding that backline access and making sure of removing, especially there's a Varus there, poor boss.
It's a perfect target. The bans now for Liberty are the pairings with Senna. When you see the Senna, you're thinking Nasus immediately, you're thinking picks that can scale up like the Gragas in that pool as well.
So I feel like Set is also something that can enable engage. We saw the Wukong Cyclone into the Showstopper being a very scary combo to access team fights, and it fits well with the WCK style of fighting you at Elder Dragon.
All this now going to come down to the pairing with the Senna. The Senna in the backline is not going to do as much damage, so what do you put alongside it? Right now, this Rolster composition is lacking damage, especially during the early game. We need something in the mid lane that is going to have duelist engage threat, and we need something in that Dragon Lane role, probably a melee that is going to be able to frontline, start fights, build space for the Senna, make sure you last until the late game when Rolster are going to come online, because they do have an advantage in the timer. What is that?
Is it a Yasuo? Oh my gosh.
They would be so silly if they dropped in Malphite then Yasuo.
That would be
because
crazy.
it can be counterpicked us. If Liberty are really concerned about it, they can pull it away.
Let's rock.
Let's rock.
Let's rock.
But at the same time,
Mine was pretty good.
Yeah, that was the best Let's Rock here.
D-God doesn't want to admit it, but he's nodding.
It was very good.
He's nodding though.
So if it is Yasuo, this is something that Rolster did before, if you remember at the Horizon Cup.
Yes.
And this would mean that they have the late game on lock.
They do.
Also, very good into Varus, very good into Thresh. So right now as the composition sit, even without the Yasuo, which is still hypothetical, Rolster, full late game, Liberty have a window in the mid game where they have one of the best possible compositions, but after that, they do fall off.
Exactly, right. They have the they're gonna go for the Orianna instead, which is this either a takeaway, expecting a Malphite into the Shockwave combo instead? But for RY, again, the Yasuo window is still open, but this is a lot of late game. What is gonna be the last pick for Zero?
The Yasuo is an Ezek pick. It is something that Zero has played before when he was under the name Ezek. And it would be, to steal your language, Riku, the most poggers thing we've seen all weekend.
Yes! It is the most poggers thing we've seen. Yes, today. Oh, I'm so, this is going to be so crazy, right? Because
this is insane.
This is absolutely insane. Big 4-1, but most importantly, finally see the Wukong, Malphite, big knock-up, everything now pivoting from Luna for the past 2 games. Now everything is on Zero's hands.
And to be clear, Liberty have the better draft by everything that we have seen so far. They have outdrafted Rolster in Game 3. Rolster have willingly allowed the best picks in the game to go to Liberty, so they can build this crazy late-game Hail Mary composition for a Game 3, D-Gon.
All right, Rolster, they're going to trust their hands and trust their picks as their backs are on the wall in this
This has already been the banger of a series, Rafa, and this game is going to be no different. I feel like this Malphite is also going to be
full AP
Malphite as well.
He's got Summonary.
Yep.
He's got the Tome.
Yep.
That's a Luden's Echo rush if I've ever seen one. And you know what? For Rolster, you look at the important targets to take down in these group team fights, it's the Ferris and the Orianna. And they're not going to be building any resistances. And if they don't get the stasis right from the Malphite ulti, it's a burst damage. It's a huge amount of burst damage comes in. Yasuo follows up with the last breath. Cyclone prolongs it even further, so Yasuo gets auto attacks and Steel Tempest in. I mean, it's the dream.
It's not only that as well, but there's no mobility as well on both their carries. Orianna has to save Flash, Varus has to save Flash, or like I said, Stasis, or even get a Protobelt as well as Rattel!
Oh, Rattel! Oh, taking advantage of the level 2 all-in spike. Analyst was hinting about it before. Rattel back at Horizon Cup, one of those big picks.
Yep.
Fiora, one of the queens of the Baron lane back then, still showing that he is still such an expert.
Again, like I said, it's not Luna on the carry this time. You know, they're putting Rattel on a champion that we know he can play. You know, we saw him at the Horizon Cup by the Analyst Desk last year. Fiora was one of his main champions. Using Zero now on Yasuo, and I'm just really excited to see this bot lane. I'm really excited to see AP Malphite as well. We have seen it before. It has been in and around different regions. It has been one of the combos. We normally see it with like a Nasus, a Wukong, or a Gragas. That's normally the combos we see with Senna. But now it's with a Malphite. It's with a full AP Malphite as well. And the one-shot potential that you could do once you hit level 5, that's a scary one. That's a scary one.
And the thing about Rolster is, for a team to kind of throw down the... Oh, wait. Is this an all-in, or at least a flash out of boss? Force the flash out from Nomel, but it's Luna flashing over the wall. Just one more auto attack. Oh, can't get a range. And Mana Fritze wins out of the 1v1. Isolated. Kinzen comes in for the cleanup. Luna and Nomel felt so confident taking the 2v2. It's just not enough damage.
You never win the 2 versus 2 there in early game. That's the problem. You have to really wait until you reach that level 5 point where you can use the Unstoppable Force. You can use Luna's ultimate on the center as well. At that point, you just don't have enough damage. You don't have a way to really kill Boss and Mano Fritze in a 1 versus 1. And now Kinzin, he's going straight onto 0. He might just be dead.
And the shockwave combo, Kona. I could probably imagine a column saying, I have level 5, go in, go, 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 go. I'll give you the shield, I'll combo the shockwave right on top of it. And punishing 0, not willing to believe and needing to commit the flash. And Kinzen would have been able to follow up. Liberty now find themselves 3 kills ahead in the early game.
3 kills ahead and also a gold lead as well, which is not something we've said a lot, really, for Liberty in this series. It's always been Rolster White, the ones with the gold lead in this series. But even though it's still early game, it's only a 1,000 gold lead. That's still a gold lead. That will still give Liberty a lot of confidence.
Because it's early enough, Liberty are able to find avenues now before the objectives spawn to leverage this gold lead. You can imagine that it's going to result in completions of first items for people like Kinzen and Kona here early on.
For sure, we're going to have to look towards these first objectives as well to see where the teams are going to be focusing as well, because I feel like at the moment it's going to be a little bit scary for Rolster to try and engage. Even though we talk about the Wombo combo on the side of Rolster, now we're going to have to figure out and see what if they're going to fight, or if they're just going to scale as well, because they have a lot of scaling. You know, the Yasuo can scale, the Fiora scales, and also the Malphite and Senna scale.
Senna, yeah.
Yeah, so it's like, do you fight on the side of Rolster, or do you just give over the objectives early games to Liberty?
Depends on how much Rolster can get in response, right? If they are positioned and prepped well on the map to trade towers or cross-map objectives, then Rolster can be comfortable saying, you know what?
Look at the Baron lane, though. They're going all in.
3 people for this top lane turret. The resistances have dropped. Freaks has no support here, so he cannot defend the turret. He's going to try to sweep the minion wave, but great rotation from Rolster.
I love this from Rolster. As soon as them turret platings go down, Luna rotates to the top side, but Nomel, he's in a lot of trouble as well. Boss does have ulti, he's going to go in.
Do you want to dive the AP Malphite under tower? I mean, yeah, he's squishy, but he can also do a lot of damage if he lands the ultimate.
And the problem is now is that Liberty weren't able to get anything on the other side of the map. We've got 10 seconds until the objectives come up. Now, Rolster are the ones that are coming back into this game now. You know, the first turret has gone down. That does give a little bit of a goal lead over to the top side for Rolster, which means that now we take a look at the objectives. You know, what are both these teams going to be focusing? It looks like Doe's moving up to the Rift Herald, but so is Kinzin. So we could see a little bit of a skirmish, a little bit of a team fight, but it's all down to the Malphite, really. And it's all down to this early fight.
Doe, great pick. Oh, no! Freaks was waiting out for the clone, but didn't get a chance to realign the portrait so that he actually ulted the clone instead. And there's the boom! Unstoppable Force, last breath connects. Kinzin trades on the Doe, though, and he's still a monster in this fight. Ignite is burning down, but because of the Crescent Guard, he managed to stay alive until the very bitter end. Nomel getting last tick of damage, and it's Rattel cleaning up on the backside, flashing after Freaks, chasing him down, but he gets back into the pit, and he's got Conan there for reinforcements.
Oh, it was it. I was waiting for that moment. The Unstoppable Force, the 3-man knock-up into 0 with the last breath as well. Really, really huge combo. But Freaks... okay.
No, Kona.
Kona's just like, okay, Rifteld, hello, how you doing? But yeah, it was so unlucky, really. But as soon as that engage comes in from Freaks and it misplays, you know, after this, the counter engage, the ultimate there from Malphite, the 3-man knock-up as well, and the follow-up as well. The thing is that this is a 4 versus 4 as well, but you can see Rattel is the one to rotate first. And as soon as Rattel comes in, you can see straight onto Boss, straight onto Freaks as well. And even though Freaks survives, this is a one-team fight for Rolster.
I think the big thing, too, that TJ was alluding to, that because Rolster Y is a composition that scales better and gets more damage early on, the early burst power isn't quite enough to completely win out the fight. But the boldness of Rolster to just go for that play anyway, willing to trade even for gold, I think that's a thing that Liberty have to keep conscious of, that they cannot just be content of saying, oh yeah, we traded, 2 for 2 kills, 2 for 1 kills. No, you have to be overwhelmingly winning these fights so that you have the guaranteed gold lead. Otherwise, Rolster get the scale alongside you.
And it's about finding the right opportunities, I feel like, for Rolster as well. As soon as you see 3 people grouped up like that, you know that that's the go button. That's the time to go in. And for Liberty, they're normally the team that like to group together as well. They're normally a team that like to group as 5. You can't group together against a Malphite. If you group together against a Malphite, and if you're not split, then Malphite's just going to find a way to jump in with his ultimate.
Saw the combo once. All the cooldowns for Rolster are back up again if they see Liberty group up. I can only imagine that they will not hesitate to go in.
Yeah, it's going to be the Rift Herald drop. This might... Oh, no! They are going to get the bot tower, it does seem like, but still, that's pretty much a wasted Rift Herald for Liberty, and now you've got to feel like Rolster, they got the Dragon, they got the scaling from the Dragon. Even though it is Ocean Dragon's not really going to be doing too much with this comp. A little bit of extra healing for the likes of Rattel, Doe, and Zero. Other than that, not really too much, but you have to feel like that Rift Herald, they have to do something, but look at Rolster. They're the ones playing aggressive, and Kinzin, he could be caught out.
Oh, God. Kinzin forced to use the Crescent Guard. Get some damage down on Doe. Flashing forward. 3 talent strike. Death sentence from Monofritz. It lands, but it's a counter engage from Nomel. Forced to use on the front line, but there's no more damage follow-up. Zero was forced to bail as the rest of Rolster could not withstand the power of Liberty.
Okay, Liberty, I mean, a little bit of a ballsy play there by Kinzin, to be fair. Flashing in into 4 people as well. It wasn't really something I was expecting, but they went out on the trade.
I will say, Xin Zhao is one of those champions that in the first 15 minutes of the game, this dude's got some insane stats. Yeah. Like, you can kind of stat check a lot of champions that you normally wouldn't imagine that you could, but it's just because of the attack speed steroid, the amount of burst damage you do with Wind Becomes Lightning, and the sustain that you get from your passive as well. And Xin Zhao is a deceptively durable champion.
Yeah. He's a very, very tanky as well, especially because of his ultimate. Because, with his ultimate, if there's long-range champions like Luna, for example, with the Senna, they can't get in the range of the Xin Zhao ulti. They can't do any damage. You're just hitting him like it's nothing. Like, no health is going to go or anything like that. So, we're a bit of a stable state of the game now, I feel like. There's no objectives that are up at the moment. Liberty is still in a goal lead, about a 1,000 goal lead at the moment over to side Liberty. They did, unfortunately, not make full use out of the Rift Herald, but look at this play, though. Are they really going to go for this tower dive?
Oh, Chain of Corruptions is going to connect as well. Hextech ultimate and sets up 2-man flame on the tower. Nomel connects the knock-up into the last breath. Zero has to clean up here, but it gets exhausted. Damage has been diminished here. Doe following up Monofritz to kind of keep them back. cannot get out alive. And Rolster once again able to trade up, and Rattel finds Kinzen.
This is a problem for Liberty, is it? If they stay grouped, if Nomel finds the right moment, and again, he got the 2 main carries on the backline. He got the Varus, he got the Orianna, and as soon as you do that, that means that Zero can follow up with the last breath as well. And you have to be so careful against a Malphite, because this is the problem. If you group, if you've got immobile carries like the Varus, like the Orianna, it's so easy to jump on top of them, and it's so easy to kill them at the same time.
And you said before, without Flash, you cannot dodge on that guaranteed combo. Watch again in this replay.
Yeah, we're going to take a look back at this replay. They're trying to shut down the Luna, but look, Nomel gets both the Orianna and the Varus in the backline. And when you're grouped together like that, it's so easy for a Malphite to just press the ultimate button. Yasuo just presses the ultimate button, kind of like an easy comp to play, really, to be fair. You know, you just press one button on your phone, you just jump in, and then that's it, you know, as easy as that.
Right, oh, hold up, Kona. Do you have friends? A Shockwave is there. Buy some time. Kinzen follows up. Rattel forces out the repause, flashing away. Monofritze looking for the death sentence. Rattel gets away, though, thanks to the Proto Belt. Now, Rolster are going to have to figure out a way if they can defend this turret, but they're currently busy and occupied taking the Rift Herald on the other side.
Yeah, so trading the tier 2 tower for the Rift Herald. Kinzen did something that was really cool. I'm not too sure if anyone noticed, but saying that, might need to wait for a second. Okay. So Kinzen actually, you know, with Lizinchan's first ability, you got 3 little auto attacks. Kinzen actually used 2 of the auto attacks onto the Krugs. He flashed over the wall and he got knock up straight away. It's a really cool mechanic for Xin that you can do as well. Just get an instant knock up afterwards.
I mean, when you're Kinzen and Xin Zhao is one of your most played champions,
he knows it.
It's how you play to your comfort.
Look at the gold swing though.
Oh, it's been. That's back and forth.
That's like my hobby right now in the series. Up, down, up, down, up, down. It's non-stop.
You just got to squish it together to really represent it. Yeah. Because if it was that long between, looked like you're resting. But we know the real story.
You go on me.
Yeah. I'm sorry.
Come on, Rafa. Come on.
I'm just messing with you.
It's the banter.
EU versus NA. It even comes out even when we're paired together on the cast. So Liberty, though, 40,000, almost tied with Rolster as well. And this is great for Rolster, for the WCK fans. Being able to witness Rolster first show the Draven comp in Game 2.
Nice stasis.
Now they have this Wombo combo, but it's the death sentence being able to combo, but there's no Yasuo to follow up on the last breath combo. So Nomel sent it, fully sent it. But it's hard to get anything done when half of your combo is gone.
That's disastrous for KT, for Rolster Y there. That's absolutely disastrous. I mean, as soon as Kinzen and Freaks go in, Zero has to use the stasis, and he just gets one shot afterwards as well. And you can see Nomel tried to use the flash, tried to use the ultimate to make sure the Yasuo can use the ultimate, but Rattel, 1 versus 3.
1v3 under the tower, Rattel burning down to
That's
the
it.
Ignite.
Oh,
but Luna, great presence of mind to use the Dawning Shadow, giving Rattel the extra shield to stay alive.
That's a huge shield there for Luna. Actually saves the life of Rattel as well. And you can see that Rattel is playing a lot of the confidence. You know, Divine Sunder, a whole break already, going for the Blade Rune Key. Even has teleport as well, so he really wants to split push. But going back quickly to this replay, you can see the aggression from Liberty again, them grouping up. Zero has to use the stasis, but look at this. As soon as he comes back up, look at the hook, the chain of corruption afterwards, and Zero's just like, oh, I'm dead. And then and the Mel's like, yeah, I've used my ultimate, but where's the follow-up?
Yeah, and I think Nomel was faced with a difficult decision to make. Does he use the ultimate immediately after Zero comes out of stasis so that he can give him the last breath for the extra shield from the passive? Yeah. Or does he wait and look for the squishier targets in Kona and Boss to try and blow up and trade? And Nomel, you know, and eventually tried to go for the decision of catching out the squishies, but I think it was either an exhaust or just not enough burst damage from this AP Malphite. I know the last time we saw a full AP Malphite on the international stage, it was from Z of Thunder Talk Gaming when he played full AP Malphite mid, and he was terrifying, but Nomel hasn't quite hit the late game status on that quite yet.
He still needs a few items, to be fair, I feel like, but the problem is that, I mean, Monofritze and Boss played it really, really well. As soon as the stasis finished by Zero, the hook landed, the chain of corruption landed. So even if Nomel used the ultimate straight afterwards, you can't use the Yasuo ulti because you're hooked, you're rooted, you're stunned. And it's just really, really nice timing. And to be honest, Liberty, they're coming in as the Brazilian 3rd seed as well, coming in through play-ins to put this much of a contest up against the #1 seed from Korea. This is by far the most surprising performances of this entire tournament.
One of the things that Monofrito was talking to me about before the beginning of group stage, and really before the play-in stage, I asked him, who do you see as the top regions of the world? He said, by far China, then Southeast Asia, and then Korea. But we think that Brazil as a region can contend with Korea. And if they win this series, if they find a way back in,
watch Nomel!
That'll be so huge. But it is Nomel with the two-man unstoppable force. Huge knock-up to the back line. Kinzen is gone. Shockwave, though, from Kona gets a response damage back. Can they kite it back outwards? Rolster Y on the forefront. Zero flashing forward, looking for an additional knock-up. Steel Tempest lines up onto one, finds another one, and Luna pressing forward. Monofrito looks for the death sentence, but in the end, it is a prime gaming ace for Rolster.
That could be the end of the game. Rattel goes in, Nomel goes in. Zero didn't even need to use his last breath. They still win the team fight, and they're going for the ends.
And the hope of Brazil is suddenly dashed by the #1 seed. Korea stands tall. The WCK fans sign relief and give a huge round of applause to their powerhouse in Rolster Y.
Rolster Y, they're here to stay, and they're going to be moving on through to the upper bracket, but big props to Liberty. You know, coming into this, I don't think no one would have really expected Liberty to really put up this much of a fight. You know, we saw them during the play-ins. They're confident, they're aggressive, but against the #1 seed from Korea, they took them to all 3 games, and every single game as well was really, really close from start to finish.
And then there's a couple big shout-outs. Obviously, I think Luna stepped up huge when he needed to in Game 2, getting the team to fully trust in him, taking on the mantle and the responsibility of such a high volatility pick in the Draven. They made great use of it, and it put so much pressure on the Liberty and allowed the rest of the team to rally into a Game 3, where then Luna stepped back into a utility role in the Senna, and the people that stepped up, it was Zero on the Yasuo, following up with Nomel. The role swap mid lane to support, making combo after combo, and the fact that they were bold enough to contest in the early game, even when their composition